Threats of gangs are nothing new, and unfortunately, as technology improves, so do the operations of gangs around the world. California has a lot of gangs. California is a huge state, but also one of the most heavily populated. This goes for gang activity too. According to a site called Tarrant Cares, street gang membership in California has reached approximately 300,000 with about 6,100 different gangs. If we tried to break down all 6,100 gangs, we would probably have an encyclopedia. Today, we're looking at the 7 most dangerous gangs battling for control of California. Some of these gangs originated in prison, while others originated on the streets of LA. One of California's most notorious gangs is even dealing drugs internationally in addition to human trafficking. Let's start with the first of the 7 gangs on this list, the infamous MS-13 or the Mara Salvatrucha. The gang has drawn the attention of the federal government for its heinous activities, which include pretty much every horrible crime you can imagine, even human trafficking. The MS-13 originated in Los Angeles. Contrary to popular belief, the MS-13 or the Mara Salvatrucha originated in Los Angeles in the 1980s, not Central America, according to the Washington office on Latin America WOLA. The gang was formed to protect immigrants who fled from countries going through civil wars such as El Salvador, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. These immigrants wound up in California neighborhoods like East and Central LA and the San Fernando Valley, according to Insight Crime. 13 seconds. The gang recruits young, and one of the ways to get in is to receive and survive a 13-second beatdown by current members. Their crimes are international. Some of the gang activities include drug and arms dealing, extorting businesses, and trafficking drugs and humans internationally. They're known to thrive and grow in prison. Authorities want to put these gang members away, but unfortunately, they not only seem to thrive in prison, but they grow too. In addition to being adept at gaining access to cell phones, computers, and even TV in prison, authorities notice they seem to spread and recruit more members when behind bars. Next up is a gang known as one of the most dangerous in all of California, the 18th Street Gang, formed in 1965. According to StreetGangs.com, the 18th Street Gang was formed by other sets in the area in 1965 in the Pico Union area of LA. Now, you guessed it, 18th Street. Today, the 18th Street Gang controls the entire area, and according to StreetGangs.com, don't mind new sets forming because it looks as if the gang is continuing to expand. They commit any crime they can get away with, from carjackings to drive-by shootings to extortion and even identification fraud. The 18th Street Gang does it all. They also commit robberies, assault, and of course, murder. According to the Department of Justice, about 80% of the 18th Street Gang's membership is made up of illegal immigrants. According to the Department of Justice, there are estimated to be between 30,000 and 50,000 members in the 18th Street Gang. The Crips. The Crips originated in Los Angeles. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, it's widely believed that the Crips were first formed in 1969. Teens attending Washington High School claimed the school's colors as their own. There is no way of telling how many murders and crimes the Crips have committed, but according to InfoTracer, their war against the Bloods in the 1980s caused a ton of bloodshed. At one point, the homicide rate rose up to 600 murders a year, according to InfoTracer. That number is likely higher, as the Crips don't just operate in California, but in other states as well. The Crips have broken off into several sets. The Crips are known for their now trademark blue colors, but there are also several sets or smaller groups associated with the Crips in different regions or neighborhoods. One quick search on the website for the FBI and you'll see that the Crips are still very much active. From illegal possession of firearms to drugs, the Crips are still one of the most dangerous gangs in all of California. You can't talk about the Crips without talking about their longtime rival that was born out of said rivalry, the Bloods. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, the Bloods were formed in the 1970s from an alliance between the Brims and the Pirates gangs as a way to protect themselves from the Crips. Similar to their rivals in the Crips, there's no telling how many crimes have been committed by members of the Bloods. Their gang activities include arms dealing, murder, trafficking drugs, and other heinous crimes. While there are several rumored ways of getting in, getting jumped in, being close with high-ranking members, etc., One of the most widely accepted ways to get in is simple. To get in, you must shed blood. If you want out, you must shed blood. According to InfoTracer, there are estimated to be between 8,000 and 15,000 members in the Bloods across all chapters. The next gang next is the Nortenos gang. According to a web archive, the gang's beginnings can be traced back to the California State Prison in 1968 as a way of offering Latinos protection from rural Northern California communities. It's difficult to pinpoint just how many the Nortenos gang has killed due to their involvement in multiple illegal activities, including association with the Nuestra crime family. One web archive estimates that the gang has killed over 300 people in a span of 3 decades, which would mean on average, the gang is responsible for an average of 10 deaths a year that we know about. According to the San Francisco Gate, the Nortenos gang have a number of symbols tied to them, including the color red and the number 14. The number 14 represents the 14th letter of the alphabet, which is N, and is out of respect for the Nuestra Familia. While originating in California, the gang has quickly spread throughout the Northwest and even as far down as Texas. They're clearly active in the state of Idaho. While we're hearing about the stabbing that took place in Caldwell that took place recently, the Nortenos gang isn't all that new to Idaho. Back in 2018, several members were involved in a prison brawl at Idaho's maximum security prison with, you guessed it, members of the Serenos gang. In 2017, several members of the gang were rounded up in a Canyon County sweep as part of Operation Red Dawn. And then there's their rivals, the Serenos gang. Like their counterparts, the Serenos originated in California State Prison in 1967. With the Latino prison population picking sides, it would be either the Serenos or Nortenos. According to the website for ICE, the Serenos don't just commit murder, but are also responsible for extortion, prostitution, arms dealing, and several other crimes that are associated with MS-13, the international criminal gang. The Serenos sport the number 13 for the letter M, which is the 13th letter in the alphabet. It represents the Mexican mafia, and of course the blue contrasts with that of the Nortenos red. They also originate from California. Like the Nortenos, the Serenos originate from California, but aren't limited to the gem state. The Serenos have spread from California to Idaho, Texas, and even as far east as New York. The Serenos have clashed with the Nortenos in Idaho before. We previously mentioned the huge brawl at the Idaho Maximum Security Prison where the Serenos fought with the Nortenos. Just this year, a member of the Serenos gang was charged with aggravated battery, which resulted in a 21-year prison sentence. And back in 2017, several members were hit with weapons and drug charges. There's still one more gang to go, the Aryans. According to the Department of Justice, the Aryan Knights, or AK as they're known, like a lot of gangs, got started in the Idaho prison system in the mid-90s. The Department of Justice says that the AK has white supremacist and white separatist ideologies. They target non-white inmates and other targets in prison. The Aryan Knights are believed to have over 100 members both in and out of prison, according to the Department of Justice. According to the Department of Justice, the AK uses drug trafficking, extortion, and gambling to generate money for their organization.